Legendary Billy Joel cancels all shows after rare brain diagnosis. The Piano Man shocked fans worldwide when he revealed he's battling a rare and serious brain condition that's forced him to cancel every concert on his tour. But this announcement only scratches the surface of what's really going on behind the scenes, and the story is far from over. Billy Joel didn't just cancel a few concerts, he pulled the plug on everything. And when the reason finally came out, fans were stunned. He wasn't dealing with burnout. It wasn't a minor injury. Joel had been diagnosed with a rare brain disorder, normal pressure hydrocephalus, or NPH. Most people had never even heard of it. What makes NPH so dangerous is how sneaky it is. It doesn't hit like a heart attack. It creeps in slowly, messing with your balance, memory, and even your vision. At first, Joel thought he was just getting older, feeling off, forgetting things, struggling to stay steady on stage. But something deeper was happening and no one saw it. Doctors say NPH often gets mistaken for Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, and in Joel's case, that's exactly what happened. He spent months not knowing what was wrong, pushing to performances, trying to ignore the signs. But behind the scenes, his body was giving out, and his fans, they had no idea. When the announcement finally dropped, it didn't come in a flashy press release. It came in a quiet, carefully worded statement. Joel revealed he was battling a brain condition that could permanently affect his ability to perform. He also confirmed what fans feared. Every show on his tour was canceled indefinitely. It wasn't just news. It was a gut punch, a living legend, silenced by a disorder barely anyone knew existed. And for those who'd grown up on his music, the thought of never hearing Piano Man live again was almost too much to take. But as serious as the diagnosis was, the real shock wasn't what he said. It was how long he'd been hiding it. Looking back, the signs were there, but nobody connected the dots. For months, maybe even years, something seemed slightly off during Billy Joel performances. He wasn't missing notes or slurring lyrics, but fans noticed small, strange things. He gripped the piano bench a little tighter. His walk across the stage felt more careful. Subtle pauses crept into his speeches between songs. At first, people chalked it up to age. After all, the man's in his 70s and still packing arenas. But this was different. There were moments when he seemed disoriented, like he'd lost his train of thought mid-sentence. Some joked about it online, calling it boomer brain fog. But it was no joke. Behind those piano keys, a neurological condition was quietly building. Even Joel's inner circle didn't realize what was going on. He kept brushing off the issues, blaming fatigue or overwork. But the truth? His brain was struggling to drain excess fluid, creating pressure that directly impacted his balance and memory. It wasn't just fatigue, it was a literal buildup inside his skull, pushing against vital functions. One particular show had fans buzzing afterward. Joel nearly tripped walking to the mic. He laughed it off, made a joke, and launched into Moving Out. The crowd cheered, but backstage, people were worried. Something wasn't right. Still, he kept going, show after show. No cancellations, no warnings. Just a legend trying to outrun something even his fame couldn't shield him from. And then came the moment no one could ignore. A fall on stage that left fans frozen and forced Joel to confront what he'd been hiding. It happened in seconds, but those seconds changed everything. During a sold-out show earlier this year, Billy Joel was mid-performance, delivering one of his signature tracks, when he suddenly lost his balance and collapsed to one knee. The music didn't stop, the lights didn't dim, but the energy in the room froze. At first, fans weren't sure what they were seeing. Was it part of the act? A dramatic pause? But then Joel didn't get up right away. A crew member rushed out, helped him to his feet, and he smiled, brushing it off like nothing had happened. "Just getting old," he joked into the mic. The crowd laughed, but it didn't feel right. Backstage, the mood was completely different. According to insider reports, Joel had complained of dizziness and blurred vision before the show. He was urged to cancel but refused. That fall, however, couldn't be ignored. For the first time, Joel's team began to question whether something deeper was happening. And the singer, always stubborn, finally agreed to undergo tests. Video of the incident hit social media before the concert was even over. Fans everywhere watched in shock as the clip went viral. Headlines screamed, "Billy Joel collapses on stage," and rumors swirled. Was it a stroke? A heart issue? Exhaustion? But no one expected what the doctors would find. What looked like a moment of fatigue was actually the visible impact of a brain condition that had been growing silently for months. That stumble wasn't a fluke. It was a symptom. And behind the scenes, it triggered a chain reaction that would lead to full diagnosis and the end of his touring career. After that fall, there was no more room for denial. Billy Joel's team quietly pulled him from public appearances, and for the first time in decades, the Piano Man went silent. No interviews, no social media, just rumors and a lot of worried fans. Behind closed doors, things were moving fast. Doctors ran test after test, scanning his brain, checking motor functions, ruling out strokes and tumors. At first, some feared it was Parkinson's. Others whispered about early-onset dementia. But what they found was something far less common. Normal pressure hydrocephalus, a neurological condition that affects the brain's ability to regulate fluid. It's rare, it's often misdiagnosed, and worst of all, it's progressive. In simple terms, NPH causes cerebrospinal fluid to build up inside the brain's ventricles. That pressure slowly interferes with walking, thinking, and bladder control. It mimics Alzheimer's, but unlike Alzheimer's, it can sometimes be treated if caught early. Unfortunately, Joel had pushed through the symptoms for months. Sources close to him say the diagnosis hit hard. He wasn't just a singer, he was a performer. Touring was his life. Being told that continuing could risk permanent brain damage wasn't just medical advice, it was a sentence. And for someone who spent his life commanding stages, the idea of losing coordination, memory, or even the ability to play was devastating. Doctors advised immediate treatment, therapy, rest, and no more stage time, indefinitely. And for the first time in his career, Billy Joel had no choice but to listen. But even in the face of this life-altering news, he wasn't ready to let the curtain fall completely. Not yet. Once the diagnosis was out, Billy Joel's focus shifted from the stage to the struggle ahead. Normal pressure hydrocephalus isn't something you just get better from overnight. It requires intense treatment, physical therapy to regain balance, and sometimes surgical procedures to drain the excess fluid, putting pressure on the brain. Joel began a rigorous recovery plan. Doctors recommended a series of shunt surgeries, which helped divert the cerebrospinal fluid and relieve the brain pressure. But even with surgery, the road is unpredictable. For some, symptoms improve dramatically. For others, it's a slow crawl toward normalcy, if there's improvement at all. Physical therapy became Joel's daily grind, strengthening his legs, retraining his balance, sharpening his mind. It's a tough fight for a man used to commanding sold-out arenas and captivating millions with every keystroke. Now, the battle was private, slow, and grueling. His team announced that all upcoming concerts would be canceled indefinitely. No farewell tour, no temporary pause, just an open-ended break while Joel focuses on healing. Fans who hoped to see their hero live had to accept the harsh reality. The man who once played marathon shows was now taking one day at a time. Despite everything, Joel remains cautiously optimistic. He's been open about his determination to recover and, if possible, return to music in some form. "I'm not done yet," he told a close friend. "This isn't the final chapter." But the truth is, NPH can be unpredictable. Recovery varies widely. Some patients return to normal life, while others face permanent challenges. For now, Joel's future on stage remains uncertain. After the announcement, Billy Joel didn't stay silent for long. He knew his fans were hurting just as much as he was. So, he released a heartfelt message that went beyond the usual thank you. It was raw, honest, and deeply personal. Joel expressed his gratitude for the decades of support, the sold-out shows, the songs sung back to him by millions. But more than that, he opened up about the pain of facing an uncertain future. "I've been fighting something invisible," he admitted. "It's not just about the music anymore. It's about learning to live with a condition I never saw coming." He spoke about the frustration of canceling shows, of letting down fans who would travel miles waited years, and dreamed of hearing him live one last time. But Joel also emphasized one thing loud and clear: his health has to come first. "Without my health, there's no music," he said. "I have to focus on getting better, on fighting back." His message wasn't just about his illness. It was about hope. Despite the setbacks, Joel vowed he's not giving up on music or life. "I don't know what the future holds," he said, "but I know I'm grateful for every moment I've had, and I'm determined to keep making music in whatever way I can." Fans flooded social media with support, sharing their own stories of perseverance, inspired by the man who had written so many anthems about resilience and hope. It was clear, Billy Joel wasn't just a legend on stage. He was a fighter off it, and even though the road ahead looks tough, his message left everyone believing that this story isn't over yet. Billy Joel's announcement and diagnosis have left fans around the world holding their breath. After decades of unforgettable performances and timeless hits, many are asking, what's next? Is this the final chapter for the Piano Man, or will he find a way back to the spotlight? Some insiders believe this could quietly mark Joel's retirement. The reality of normal pressure hydrocephalus is that it's unpredictable and recovery isn't guaranteed. At 75, many think it's understandable if he decides to step away from the grueling demands of touring. After all, this is a man who's given us decades of music, shaping the soundtrack of generations. But others point to Joel's famously stubborn spirit and passion for music. This is a performer who's battled through hardships before, refusing to quit when the odds were against him. Friends close to him say that despite the diagnosis, he remains determined to make music in some form, whether that's writing new songs, recording, or even a limited return to live shows if his health allows. Rumors have already started circulating about a possible final farewell tour once Joel recovers. His longtime collaborators hint that he might channel this experience into new music, turning pain into powerful art. If that happens, it would be a stunning comeback, not just to perform, but to tell his story in a way only he can. For now, the truth is uncertain. Joel's health takes priority, and only time will tell if the world will hear him play live again. But one thing is clear: whatever happens next, his legacy is secure. Billy Joel's music will continue to inspire long after the last note is played. Billy Joel's legacy is unstoppable, no matter what the future holds. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.